Hello everybody, Andy here, and today I want to go through my nightmare, which is Kill Team. Woo! Yep, took me ages to think of that joke. Right, in the first half of this video, I want to kind of review it as a product that someone might purchase, you know, the inner workings, the accoutrement, and then in the second half, I want to talk about, you know, the mechanics, how they play in the game a little bit. My patrons have already had a full Man Reads book and an unboxing, but you guys get the finished product, my final thoughts after having built, tampered, played, etc. Cool. With that said, let's dive into it, shall we? Let's start with the cost. So this is £85. If you're also a follower of other GW games, it's Warcry, which at the moment has an identical offering and like monetization system, is £80. So we're being charged a £5 premium for 40k as opposed to Age of Sigmar. How does that make you vibe? All in all, if I'm honest, I don't mind because I get sent this for free. So thank you to Games Workshop for sending it to me. What can I say, right? You know, like, price, value, cost, it's all so personal. I have a YouTube channel that focuses heavily on Kill Team. I was going to buy this anyway. The cost is almost irrelevant. I can say that I am picking up the most recent, or it goes live today, the Warcry box, Power and Blood. So I'm going to buy that. So 85 quid seems fine. You get some terrain, you get 2 teams. 2 pretty decent teams, I think. We'll talk about that in the second half. I think also now, if I'm honest, the thing that really swings it for me, whereas Into the Dark was really quite challenging to start kind of saying, yes, buy this, is you finally get, like, you know, the accoutrement. You get the data cards, you get the tokens. Yeah, really good. That makes it a much easier thing to kind of push to you. Whereas Into the Dark was getting pretty... I mean, that was tough. You have to really like 2 teams and want more terrain. Anyway, we're here now. 85 quid, it's your call, isn't it? Right, we then get to the teams. So you get 2 10 model teams. One, aka the Night Lords, incredibly easily proxied. If you have Legionaries, you almost don't need to buy this team. So who is buying this team? Who wants the Night Lords? People that like bat ears, I suppose. Or people that have not, for some reason, bought Legionaries and want something else. Let me show you quickly the models here. So we've got our leader. He is pretty standard. He's a pistol and a chainsword. You're going to want to pick him up. But again, if you have a Legionary, you probably have that, right? Our skin thief here, that's just your butcher. This guy, that's your demon, that's your anointed guy. Obviously, you've got a plasma guy. You've also got a missile launcher already from, and a melter and a flamer potentially from Legionary. You've got this guy who you, not the skin thief, I just said that name. You know, the guy, the Shrive Talon. That's just this guy here. And then finally, you've got your guy with a dead space marine on the end there. Who's that? Obviously, that's an icon bearer. This is a much cooler icon. You would have to consider, you know, height, visibility, modeling for disadvantage. We've talked about that before. Yeah, it's a lovely team if you do not already have the Legionary team. If you have the Legionary team, this team's kind of just a freebie, really, which is really cool to see. There you go. Yeah, then we get to the Mandrakes. Ah, man, these are... Yeah. Okay, let me show you. Okay, so the way the Mandrakes work is you get 2 sprues, which are identical. So you're making 5 models, specialists, 5 models, regular dudes, okay? Let me show you the difference. Here we go. Now, which one is the specialist? Because these are the 2 same sculpts. You can, on the table, run both of these models. Which one's... One of those is your leader. And one of those is a regular dude that does nothing special, okay? I'm like, I don't know. I've got no clue. let's go with 2 more. Okay, now again, one of these is a specialist, one of these is a normal dude. Which is which? So, what you're going to see, in fact, is that all of the specialists have top knots. That's it. That's how you tell your specialists from your normal guys. They have top knots. Yeah, I suppose. Fine. So, I guess for me personally, I find it quite hard to tell these models apart. And I find it quite hard to look at the model and say, oh yes, this model versus this model. I lost that one. Right. Oh yes, clearly this guy's the leader and clearly this guy's the screamer. No, not really. Just, that's what they are. You know, nothing there really tells me what the model does. Obviously, apart from this guy, that's the Shadow Portal dude. That's easy to remember. There you go. I think the Mandrake team, from a modelling perspective, for whatever reason, I don't know really, is a bit of a miss for me. I've really tried to figure it out, and I don't know why. I quite like Mandrakes in concept, the theme, and even the old Finecast models. These almost don't work for me. I don't know why. There you go. Moving on. Great reviewing, technical skills there, Andy. So, that's the teams. Although I will just point out quickly, sorry, for those looking for value, 2 10-man teams, you don't have to buy anything else. There are no other options. It's not like Phobos where you also need to buy Reavers or anything like that. You have everything you could possibly need for both teams. So you can build every single specialist for the Mandrakes, and you can build every single specialist for the Night Lords with extras. So, cool. Good. These are 2 complete teams that you would never need to buy anything more of. And if you want to play other systems like 40k, both of these will fit into that army, no problem. That's good. I like to see that. Okay, we then get to the terrain. Right, let me grab it, sorry. Here we go. So this is the terrain. As you can tell, I just dry brushed it silver because I couldn't be bothered. There you go. Now, I was very critical of the Kill Team Salvation terrain. If you watch me doing that. And this terrain, I suspect, people are going to assume I am equally negative about. And the weird thing here is, no. I think this is actually really nice. I don't know how it's going to play, like, from a playability perspective, fine. It's an option. It's purely a narrative piece. You would never put this in a competitive tournament, but that's fine. Doesn't really bother me. It's a really good size, and from a playability perspective, you have these channels that your models can actually be placed in. And I really like that. If you look at this here, what does this remind you of? You know, you've got a model that's kind of in a small walkway between 2 raised walls. This is almost what a trench should be like. And I really like that. I think it's really cool. The only negative is the steps here. Too narrow to actually put a model on. Would it be nice if they just extended it a little bit so that the steps were usable? And that's it. Yeah. Cool piece of terrain. Also works quite well to put all of your models on as a display base. That's right. It's a glorified display base that can accidentally be put on the board for narrative missions. I like it. There you go. Is it worth... Okay, if you look at the price, £85, that's the same cost as 2 teams. So this is free. Okay, cool. This is, in my opinion, significantly better than the Salvation, like random pumps and bins, you know. So who knows, maybe they just brought my expectations down so hard with Salvation that now I'm actually quite hyped for that. I wouldn't buy that piece of terrain, but as a freebie thrown in with the rest of the box, cool. I'm fine with it. I like it. If you're playing narrative, it's actually surprisingly functional due to the fact that it's not just a flat plane. You've got a lot of nooks and crannies to hide in. 2 thumbs up. Nice. Well, not 2 thumbs up. 1 thumb up. Thumb and a half. Thumb and a half. Nice. We then go to the accoutrement. Yes. So, I'll get to the book in a moment. Sorry. So this is how as my patrons will know from the unboxing, it gets delivered to you in this, which I think is quite funky. In the past, we've been relegated to a mere plastic bag. Now, we get like a little folder to keep our stuff in, which I think is super cool. There you go. So, exactly what you'd expect. If you picked up Salvation or you watched the Salvation stuff, it's the same thing. We get some data cards, we get some tokens, and we get the teams, strat ploys, tac ops, abilities, all this stuff. Nice. I really like these. This is great. These are top notch. 10/10, wood bang, big fan, I approve. There you go. I can't get it back in the hole. We all know how that is. It's like pushing rope. Okay, we then go to the data cards. I think the data cards are great. I like data cards. If you give me the option of data cards or no data cards, I would say data cards. Minor kind of... I said it in my Salvation review. These data cards are too big. From a playability perspective, here at home or at my local game store, I can use these because it's not a big deal. But if I go to a tournament, these are too big. You never know, at some tournaments you're shoulder to shoulder. You can't use these. However, the Strikeforce Justian tarot-sized data cards, perfect. With a minor addendum. We're going to get into it in a moment. These teams have so much text. Look at that. What's this? That's insane. If you were to shrink this data card down to tarot size, like I'm suggesting, this wouldn't work. Okay, that's too much text. That is a frustration for the game designers to figure out, not for us. I'm just saying, it would be nice to get a little bit of usability in the form factor, but if these were tarot, I literally wouldn't be able to read the text. Something for the graphic designers and the rules writers to put their heads together and figure out. There you go. With that said, I just want to reiterate, the way I function is highly autistic. The way I function is basically, after I've played my first few games, I throw away my Kill Team book because I don't have space for it, right? And I never look at it again, really. And I then have to use KT Dash or Wahapedia, right? I would prefer to use a GW official app because I need to save space. However, these I do keep, and that is a step up from GW at the very least. There you go. Which I realise, it's not a high bar, but the book gets chucked because I don't have space. The data cards get kept and used, even if they're not like the ultimate form factor ideality for me. We then have the tokens. I think these are really nice tokens. Oh, I just popped one out. Oh, disaster. Cool. Nice. I don't really use them, but I think they're really nice. I think they're great inclusions, and I want them to continue to be included in all future Kill Team offerings. Okay, cool. Is there anything else to say about that? No. First purchase. Should Kill Team Nightmare be your first purchase? Which I know some of my old OGs out there, you're thinking, Andy, what are you talking about first purchases for? We're 2.5 years into this 3-year cycle. Well, a lot of people are still getting into it. And don't forget, we're just coming out of Into the Dark year where nobody could buy anything. Bit of a killer for the game, to be honest, but whatever. I actually think this is a great first purchase for Kill Team. Okay, you'll have to find some other terrain, but this terrain, I think, actually would pair very well with the Kill Team starter kit. It's going to give you some vantage points and additional places to move. Very nice. Both of the teams, as mentioned, are fully complete teams, and I think a really nice progression into the game. You've got the Night Lords, who of course are doing your 12 wound, 3-up saves, relatively durable, melee, beginner-friendly team. And we'll talk about it in a moment, but I think they're going to be pretty damn top tier. So that's good. They're going to take you right from beginner all the way up to top tier, potentially, if you want to go that far in your Kill Team career. Although you probably shouldn't think of Kill Team as a career, just FYI. And then you also have the more fragile, the slightly more nuanced Eldari team in the form of the Mandrakes. So you can go Billy Basic with your Night Lords, or you can get a little bit advanced with your Mandrakes. I think it's actually, like, quite genuinely a really solid, good purchase for those new to Kill Team. With that said, if you are genuinely new to this and you haven't quite looked into stuff, you might have just heard me say, 2.5 years into a 3-year game, GW10, we have nothing confirmed, but GW tends to do a 3-year cycle on the game. So in 6 months' time, like September, they will probably release a new version of Kill Team. That is something you need to keep in mind. For me, that wouldn't stop me. 6 months in a game and I get to play with cool new models, hype, love it. Everyone's different, same with the 85 quid value thing. Everyone views these things differently. I would still fully recommend this. Like if you're interested in Kill Team, jump in. This is a great first purchase. If you're not sure, maybe hold off. I don't know. Buy something cheaper. The original Kill Team Starter Edition is a brilliant purchase. It's cheaper than this. You get 2 great teams. You get more terrain. No accoutrement, though. No accoutrement. Okay, cool. With that said, let's have a think about the teams. I want to talk a little bit about the mechanics. Now, if you've just watched the Warhammer Plus Battle Report kind of review I did, you basically know everything already. When it comes to these two teams, you know what? We kind of know in this edition what they do, right? We know what an Eldar team does. We know what a Marine team does. I can let you know the Marine team are melee, and they're going to be very, very good at melee, okay? Their whole thing is they charge in, they do extra things, and then they get to hit you still. Really nice. They've also got a few cheeky bits here and there, like the way they can make you, the enemy, move. They've obviously got Seek and Destroy. This is going to be just a really good team, if I'm honest. I think they're going to be good right across the skill level, right from beginner all the way up to advanced. Basically, the way this team works, turn 2 onwards, you always pop We Have Come For You, and if you have your gunner in position, you pop Prey Sight. You can also consider the Black Hunt, and that's it. The Black Hunt, oh dear. There you go. The Night Lord Visionary, he's super cool as well. Every turn you get some points, and you can always, if you want, get an extra CP, or you can also like do some cool stuff. Again, this isn't I'm obviously not doing a full review here, or like a tactical in-depth guide. There are other people that are going to do that. I think that's it's not for me at the moment, but yeah. The key here for when you're considering building your operatives, although you just use legionaries, doesn't matter, is every specialist compete against a missile launcher. There you go. So, how many specialists are there? Sorry. Let me count the ways in which I specialist you. So there are 4 specialists, right? So we've got the Fearmonger, the Screecher, the Skin Thief, the Ventriloquar. Okay? That's 4. You're always taking a plasma, why wouldn't you? So then you've got to consider, for your heavy gunner, you're either taking the heavy bolter or the missile launcher. So every specialist is competing against that heavy gunner spot. Okay? What do you do? So which is better, a missile launcher or a shoot twice heavy bolter, or a guy that screeches at you, or a hard to use poison guy? Difficult, don't know. That's what you have to consider when you are running this team, when you're sorting out your roster. But again, on the plus side, the team itself, obviously 10 models when you're only taking 6, so you can build every iteration. You can build your specialist, you can build your leader, and then you can build like 2 gunners and 2 heavy gunners. So you're sorted. You can build what you need, even if you haven't actually decided how you're going to run them in the moment as you're building. We then come to the mandrakes. So the mandrakes are an interesting one. Again, I went into more depth even before the rules were released, thanks to the Warhammer Plus Battle Report. Go and check that out. However, they're a weird one. They, yeah, thanks to their shadow passage, they are where they want to be. It's going to be a really interesting team, and I think it's going to be a very skill-dependent team. However, you know, it's always so difficult to know how strong such a radical ability is going to be. Is it going to be absolutely dominating, and I just personally haven't seen how dominating it will be? Or is it going to be kind of too weak and actually in reality doesn't get used? Is it going to be significantly more niche than it seems, and you'll only ever use it on Into the Dark but never on Octarius Open? Or is it going to be finely balanced and you'll use it at key points, and it's really going to depend on your skill level to see when it should be used and when it shouldn't be used? Because of course the trade-off is, yes, you get to move basically anywhere on the board, but you then can't attack. Who knows? There you go. Don't know myself. How are you playing them? They're a weird one. They're a very much an all-rounder. They are primarily a melee team, but their shooting isn't nothing. Their shooting is a strong bolter, basically. I'm sure that if we ran the maths, it would basically be that they are AP1 bolters across the team, which is pretty good. You know, that's not what they have, to clarify. They have the ability Soul Strike, which means that everybody saves on under their APL stat, which is obviously, what is that actually? I haven't done the maths, but I suspect it maths out at AP1 bolters. Also, you know, just look at the page. There is so much text here. Again, this is the kind of text where you could squash that entire paragraph down to roll a d6, right? But they have to do what they have to do. They have to make sure they write ironclad rules. There you go. But is what it is. And here we go. Cool. In general, they're going to be very much an all-rounder team in that they need to, but they don't look inherently strong and broken. So they're an all-rounder team in the sense of you have to do everything to win, not an all-rounder team in the sense of jack of all trades, do whatever you want. And that's why I think they're going to be a very skill-based team. There you go. Is there anything else to say for them? No, I think that's about it for the Mandrakes. Yeah, they are what they are. Cool. And then, very finally, I just want to quickly point out that, you know, there is the Beta Decima terrain that this is supposed to be used on. There is obviously the terrain. We have vantage points. Cool. They also, interestingly, it defines it here. If you look at this piece of terrain, this is a total guess, but I almost feel like this is the first piece of terrain that they kind of made and then wrote rules for after they had been to tournaments at the start of the edition and seen how people played the rules and stuff. Because if you look at this piece of terrain, right, there's so many little like nooks and crannies that if you just have a base, you know, a little guy there, right, you can have him at a point where he basically can't be shot unless you're perpendicular to him, right? Well, they wrote that into the rules and said, nah, you can't use these little bits. Very similar to what they did with the, what's the word, with the Into the Dark terrain, where the walls count as having no little nooks and crannies where you can hide your base. They've done the same thing on this one when it comes to working out cover. I kind of suspect, if we're thinking about the new edition, that that might be a thing they've realised. And when people are hiding their circular base on the apex of a corner, that's not how they want the game to actually play. This idea that you could just toe into a piece of cover feels like maybe that's not, they're trying to write rules to remove that from the game as they go, but because they're not changing the core rules, they're changing how the terrain that they have control over works. I think that's quite interesting. I imagine perhaps going into 3rd edition, that might be a core rule we see changed. We then have kind of the narrative twists. Now this is quite interesting. So swimming, you can now move over the hazardous bit in the middle. There you go. That's weird. Again, sorry, I want to be really clear. This is a narrative twist. This is narrative only. And the reason they've done that is so that you can then use these, like currents, whirlpools, hypnotic waters, ocean predator, battering waves, miasma veil. Just a little thing that lets you have a little bit more flexibility, which I actually quite like, because before I really did feel like Beta Decima was a touch limiting. Like, quite genuinely, I feel like the central dangerous terrain that you cannot ever move in or over or anything, unless you have fly, was just a negative, and the same Beta Decima kit works better if you just don't have that. Like, I think it's a better play experience without the central dangerous terrain. Good luck not knocking the terrain over in that instance, but yeah, there you go. Cool. And that's about it. Good stuff. And then they have, all of your things that you would expect. Again, no more critical operations. This is only shadow operations now. But some more stuff for you. So that's cool. There you go. And that's it. That is Kill Team Nightmare. Whoopsie daisy, I kind of already gave my thoughts, my final thoughts at the halfway point of the video, but I think it's a pretty good set. The mandrakes don't spark joy within me. I like the Night Lords. I like the terrain. I like the accoutrement. This would be a purchase for me. This would be an easy suggestion as a first purchase for someone looking to get into Kill Team, but to each their own. Okay, and anyway, this has been Andy, so thanks for watching, and let me know what you think about Kill Team Nightmare. Have a good one. Bye.